out, but y'all trying to run PD's thing. Their best bet was to pay for them.
Uh,
I saw one the other day. They was talking about coming up on the 12th, and I say, is it paid? It was like, nah, it's actually $35 to get into. And suddenly, I was just like, oh,
right. Suddenly,
mm,
I have a bad case of something.
it's right, it's right here somewhere in my forehead.
And see,
Definitely.
I think they kind of have no choice but to understand that. I saw you post something earlier. Summertime, teachers are not off. We're in recovery. Like the things that we take on and the energies that consume us throughout the whole school year, you need about a good month, maybe two, just to go ahead and completely uh, recharge. Because even for me, having a first official off day yesterday, my body just shut down. I completely shut down. Like sleep that I didn't believe that I was deprived hit me.
Mm,
So, and people don't, I don't guess people don't understand. And people don't have to, it's not really their field. And maybe a lot of see people can have children, but when it comes to the academic components surrounding educating your child, people aren't always invested. But it takes a lot. It takes a lot out of us because you have to always think of the child. You have to, even if you're giving a child solicited advice, you have to make sure that you dot every I, cross every T, so that nothing comes back to bite you in the butt. And then you also want to make sure that while you're speaking to a child, that you're trying your best to, even if you don't know the parent, but you know the child, you we walk a fine line because all it takes is for you told
mm-hmm.
my child this, and it's like, no, this is completely misconstrued. But
Now you
yeah,
finna spend that time trying to prove your innocence.
exactly. So people don't realize it takes a lot out of you
It definitely
sometimes to
does. It definitely does.
actually educate this generation. It's rewarding, but it takes a lot. And sometimes too, biggest thing that drains you are not the children. It's the oversized children that sometimes drive cars and they call you colleague, or they call or they call parents. That's what drives you bonkers.
Man, you preaching now. I'm about to go ahead and find a hat around here and pass it around. But yo, that red box in the oh wait a minute, it's in that corner. There we go.
It's in that
Red,
corner.
yeah, it's
That
over
corner.
in this corner right here. It says that we are live. What's good, people? Y'all know who it is. It is your favorite two-time ATL's hottest DJ, the God, DJ Agony, also known as Dr. Dope. Well, my motto is simple: on the building. And I know y'all haven't seen this in a while. Well, y'all seen me 2 nights in a row. But guess what? It's happening, people. Big shouts out to everybody that stopped through
It's
last night.
summertime.
It's summertime.
It's
But
summertime.
everybody that stopped through last night on the quick 30, yo, top 10 black athletes from movies. Stopped in for my top 10 list. Miss Parker, who's your favorite athlete from a movie? Fictional athlete from a movie.
Fictional athlete from a movie. Um. Uh. Jesus Shuttlesworth.
And you know what was crazy about that? He was actually number 5 on the list.
Yeah, Jesus Shuttlesworth. Because first of all, his name was Jesus. the
I
movie,
mean, let's
the
start
reality,
there.
the reality of it is, the movie was so terrible, but he was Jesus.
I mean, Denzel could only do so much.
Listen, I think that's probably the only one. If you ever have discussions of what movie just absolutely sucked for Denzel, it had to be that one.
I can't say it absolutely sucked though. Like,
But okay, let me back up. There was a lot of truth behind it, especially how some of our uh, young men of color, how they're enticed to come to certain programs and
mhm.
things of that nature. So I do know that Spike Lee does a really good job of in his own way of trying to showcase what other schools and people sometimes do to get those star players in the building. But yeah, I think I would have to go with sport wise, yeah, Jesus Shuttlesworth.
Jesus
Cause
Shuttlesworth. He was number
yeah,
5 on my list.
Yeah, because some of the other ones were based off of real life people, so I can't go there.
Well,
We're saying
Jesus Shuttlesworth was loosely based off it to me. Just looking at it and knowing the story, I thought he was loosely based off Stephon Marbury,
okay, okay.
coming out of Coney Island, star athlete. I mean, or maybe that's just a common thing coming from Coney Island.
It could be because I mean, even if you were going to reference that, it'll be some kind of reference within the movie, or even maybe the credits. And I don't remember any kind of reference or any kind
He
of thanks or accolades to him.
he made mention of it. The dude asked, so who from this neighborhood ever grew up and went big? And he was like, Stephon Marbury. He said, okay, well, you got that one.
Okay,
But
okay,
yeah, but and that was crazy because the thing is, I wanted to put Booby Miles at the top of the list from Friday Night Lights,
okay,
but he's actually real. Like that movie's actually real. Like those were real people playing played by actors. So it was like, well,
okay.
yeah. So needs to say he didn't make the list, but Jesus Shuttlesworth, that's crazy. But yeah, he was number 5. My number 1 last night, Clubber Lang, Rocky 3.
Okay. Okay. You said Rocky 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mr. T character.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You did say and for whatever reason, I don't know why my mind just drew a blank and I went just strictly for baseball, basketball, football. But okay. Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
to tell a man to entice a man to fight you by saying, "Hey, woman, won't you come over to my apartment and I show you a real man?" You just told this man wife that now he gotta fight you.
You're right. I mean, 'cause I mean, other than that, she go straight quit you. Cause, cause women, we can't deal with no punk. Listen, listen. Everybody don't want the hood joker, but no, you gotta be able to come to our defense. I'm sorry.
Yeah. He said, "Come to my
So,
apartment, show you a real man." But y'all just joined in with us at the planning period with me, DJ Agony, your two-time ATL's hottest DJ, and this young lady right here who if y'all have been following this show for the last at least 2 years, y'all should know who she is. But if you have been living under a rock in a closet or you're new to the dope show, let these folks know who you are, ma'am.
it's on the screen. Duh. Know what's going on, people? Miss Park is in the building. Just wrapping up a fantastic school year. So we got our thing called the planning period, ready to go ahead and kind of just talk about some stuff.
Yeah, yeah. How was your year?
Very long. It was a long year, but I can honestly say that even with a few bumps and bruises in the road, it ended up being a very fantastic year. Just like anything else, it it can come with its own challenges, but overall, very good year. We sent a pretty good group out who will be beginning their high school career come July 29th of this year. And we're just looking forward to this upcoming group coming in that I had a me having I had one seventh grade class this year. So I still the eighth grade teacher, but I end up inheriting one seventh grade. So I had three eighth and one seventh core content. And I can say the upcoming young people who are coming in, they they're interesting. But I will say that they're so far what I can see, they are hard workers. So, hopefully we have the very thing that they need to go ahead and kind of get on task. But, looking forward to this rest right now. But, once this rest period is over, looking forward to a good school year. But but yeah, wrap the school year up pretty well. Long, still got a couple of PDs to do, but
Oof.
yeah, yeah, pretty good school year. No major complaints, none whatsoever.
I did my last PD last Wednesday. And yeah, my year actually, I have to say the opposite. My year went by kind of quick this year. Like, every time I turn around, I'm struggling, I'm dragging myself, and then a break pops up. And I'm like, okay, cool. So
Okay.
and so then, next thing I know, November comes around. I'm like, all right, cool. Then it's my birthday. So then we drag around and then boom, there's Christmas. I'm like, okay. And we get to the other side of Christmas. We got King Day for a day, but then February, we got a week. Now that time in between February and April, oh yeah, we had to dredge through the month of March.
Okay.
And then we get to April, boom, we got spring break. But then now after spring break, you looking and you're at about 7 weeks till it's over
And you're in straight test mode.
and straight test mode.
You're
But
straight test mode at that point.
the
Yeah.
plus side is the testing really took away from a lot of days in class. Like it's just all right, it's just test day. This is what it is, So I guess if nothing else, that kind of alleviated something the planning and instruction. Really, at that point, all you're doing is corralling.
But but sometimes I guess just depends on who you are. That can feel long. That can feel long because you definitely want to make sure. And I know when our testing started, our when our testing started, we had one grade level to actually kick off first, and then you go through that particular week and vice versa, and then you keep going on, keep going, going, going. So of course, even if it's not your week to go ahead and go forth, you do know that the whole school is impacted. So it was just long. It was long, and then by the time you're done with testing, and then it's time for devices to be collected, then you have your young people, and you're at that point. The biggest thing is you're just trying to make sure that you're keeping them structured. So yeah, and what people understand is what happens. A transfer of power happens, and people don't really understand. Teachers, we're getting tired. The students are getting energy. So that transfer, that yeah, it's real. It's real. So sometimes because we're tired, feelings are on the sleeve. We're easily agitated, and the kids, they just wanna, for lack of better words, just have fun. But in
Hmm.
all actuality, they're getting stronger, we're getting weaker. So,
And I think
so
at that point, once the devices are collected and testing's done, just send them home. At this
yeah,
point, we're done here. Why do
yeah.
we drag that part out another week?
Well, I do understand that you need your period of time for celebrations to acknowledge those who have done the right thing. Because if we're really telling the truth about our educational system, over 85% of our young people, I'll even say 90, about 90% of our young people do the right thing. They come to school, they're prepared, they do what they're supposed to do. Most schools see repeat offenders. So you see the same the same 10, or the same across the school, maybe the 30 who are really acting a donkey, when you have the
That's
mass
real though.
the mass majority who aren't even, kicking up a ruckus. So of course, you want to take the time to have those moments where you can celebrate your young people. There's some young people who came in the door, make with the mindset, I'm going to get all A's, and they did it. So you do. So I don't ever want to feel like we're dragging that part out. It's just that it's after everything is done. There is a we become completely deflated, and all the energy that we exhale, they inhale.
Mm.
So, and I think it's a good way of I think it's something that we need to be honest about, and it's okay. It's not showing a level of weakness. It's actually showing the part where we are very much human. So then we might need something after devices have been collected, after testing is over. We might need something so that we can recharge, so that we can very well wrap the school year up the right way, especially for those young people who deserve it.
Yeah, I get that. It's just though but it's literally about a 2 to 4 day gap from that part until we waving at the buses for the last time. It's just like,
Yeah,
what do I do with this? You know what I'm saying?
yeah. It's kind of like Ricky Bobby. What do I do with my hands? Yeah.
I don't know what to do with my hands. We got Phyllis in the building. What's happening with you? She said, I agree that the celebratory moment is very necessary. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And what was crazy, they did our honors assembly on the last day of school this year.
Okay.
But from the time that devices were collected, grade books were closed. That still left about 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
What do I do with this?
I mean, at that point, you bring out Uno, and you pretty much say, "Hey, some of you are going to high school."
Right.
Play a little game called spades. Not saying that I did it. I didn't do it in my room,
I'm
but
what you're talking
yeah,
about. Never happened. Not
very.
not here on the planning period, and definitely not in 507.
Oh no, 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 no.
Absolutely, absolutely. So while we on the subject of education and things of the sort, APS just put out a new schedule of pay raises and said it's 11%, which is like
Okay,
the most in I don't know how many years. But looking at this chart, if you come in certified through the PSC, your first year of experience with a bachelor's degree, 61,816.
61. Wow. Okay.
61 fresh out of school. Like I've never heard of this number. Like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
And
Well.
so and and I'm befuddled by that. Like I'm completely thrown because I'm looking at where I would possibly fit in and seeing trying to get my math right.
Okay.
Got to put my glasses on for this one. Looking like about 17,000 difference.
Okay. Okay. Well, the thing is, even when you think about it, even at 61,000, with everything that teachers do, that yeah, that's a handsome salary starting off. But there's so many other different fields that don't require what the educational arena, uh I keep saying arena, but yeah, but
Arena is right. Two will enter, one may leave.
right, but yeah, but the educational component, it doesn't. People can go into different fields and make substantially more. But I will say, year one, bachelor's degree, 61. eh, I mean, all because of inflation, yes. But see, what happens
And
is
there's that.
this. But this is what happens. See, it used to be a time where people who were educators, you had to, let me say this, let me see, can I say this the right way? You had to pay your dues. You had to pay your dues as an educator. Now, that doesn't mean that you come in below the poverty level or you come
Right.
in struggling. But the reality of it is, you're coming in 22 years old, straight out of college, bachelor's degree, no classroom experience, and you're getting 61,000. Now, keep in mind, there are certain things that student teaching and certain things that school itself is not going to teach you. It's not going to teach you to build those relationships. It does very little minimal surrounding classroom management. So there are some things that
Very
you're going to
minimum. Say
very
that
minimal.
say
So
that
you're going to
again louder.
so this right here is something that you learn as you go on.
Hmm.
And what I've noticed is a lot of people come into the field. Even now, you might meet your average 31-year-old, 32-year-old, and already they're applying to be assistant principals, which in some cases, some people can say, oh, wow, that's wonderful. But is it really? Because when you're talking about being a leader of men, hold on, let me say this correctly because I don't want anyone to be, oh my gosh, a leader of
Mm.
men and a leader of women. So when you're looking at taking on a leadership role at 30 years of age, and you've probably only had, let's say, maybe uh six, no, if that, I'll say five solid years in the classroom. What are you telling a veteran? I mean, how are you truly leading without a level of experience? But see, this is what we're finding now. I mean, don't get me wrong. Over there where I am, I happen to have two very good two very good APs that have had years. And I mean both of these ladies had more than I'll say 15 years. So
Mm-hmm.
years in the classroom where they can come into anyone's class and show you how to bring about order, how to write lesson plans, etc., etc. And
In
then
essence, model.
right. So
Mm-hmm.
which is so important. But nowadays, when you're having people coming in and you don't have to pay those dues anymore, it's I don't know. Now that's just my opinion. I'm not ever going to ask someone to just
Um,
stay put just for the sake of staying put. But now it's different. If you're coming from a completely different career field, maybe you served in the military, maybe you were in corporate America, then that's different. So you might
mhm.
come in with a different hustle. But fresh out of school, 61, no experience, I don't know. I mean, it sounds good, but but on the same hand, why is it that APS is still looking for people? See, that's what I'm looking at. You have you have these handsome salaries,
Mm-hmm.
but why is it that APS can't keep people? And
I
then,
mean, and I'm thinking about maybe from the other side of that coin, it's to draw more people to APS.
but
Um, because I
here,
mean, the thing is, this is taking effect the school year coming up.
right?
So, I would like to see a year from now, what is their retention rate from this school year with this new money that's getting flooded in?
I mean, yeah, but then again, when you kind of look and see what APS also hires to, I'll leave it at that. I don't. I'll leave it at that because I know quite a few people. It's like, okay, and I'll leave it at that. It's like, oh, so we don't do any background checks. Okay.
They'll do nothing, huh? God damn.
I mean, you just come in and say, I can teach. Here we go.
I'm
All
good.
right. And I
Damn
guess
it.
hey, but I will say the beauty about APS with these new uh salary caps, the beauty about it is of course Atlanta public schools falls not only in the major popular city in the state of Georgia, it's also the state capital. So of course the state capital kind of just sets the tone for everything else. So right now what's going to happen is you have your other counties because no one wants to lose their people. Everyone is looking for people. So no
Hmm.
one wants to lose their people to an APS, to a COB, to any other of these counties that are paying substantially more. So now APS has set the bar, and now you're going to find the other counties. I'll say within a year they're going to go ahead and kind of counter. So
Because I think before this happened, I want to say Cobb was the highest. Well, between Cobb and Gwinnett were the
yeah,
highest paying in the metro area.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so now you're talking about APS, which is like, the heart of the city. What I'm saying, now that they just upped it, it's like, okay, so what happens with DeKalb, Henry, and Clayton?
And see, unfortunately, you find a lot of people now, they'll tell you the money in DeKalb County is good. It's just the structure. So a lot of people who I know who have left DeKalb County have left like, yeah, I mean, they just taken off, leaving DeKalb. And it's not because of the money. They just don't believe that the lack of the structure of DeKalb County as a whole, with the money, they just don't believe that it's worth it. So now APS comes with these high salaries and their structure is a lot better, and even like their hiring system, and different incentives that they actually kind of put in place for teachers, especially veteran teachers, because I mean, because everybody throws the red carpet out for the new teacher. Hey, can I give you a couple years to do this, do that? What about some? What about some thought provoking PDs for your veterans? Because unfortunately, any PD that you have now that you might send an average veteran to, then here comes Resume Rhonda and Ralph Oh, well, I have 10 years of this and I've done this, so what can they teach me? Damn it, just go and shut your mouth. How about that? Because you never know. You might sit next to somebody who's only been in there for a year. Resume Rhonda and Ralph get on my nerves.
You
Yeah,
know my favorite. You know
because
my favorite.
I've been teaching for like 5 years, and I have this and I have that, and the whole time I'm sitting here looking like, I really did not ask you about your resume.
You know what my favorite part is from Resident Ronda? I think that name's funny. Um, but at my old school,
It's always, yeah, it's
at my
always,
at my old school, like we used to do things, like, and I'm like, why aren't you there?
why aren't you at your old school there? Or better yet, I mean, I have 15 years of experience. So I guess my things, when people say stuff like that, people don't understand. That's the level of insecurity. It really is.
You got to throw
It's
your numbers
almost,
around, huh?
it's very much a level of insecurity. I never sit back and tell people um what I have, what I know, what I've done, unless if someone just wants to pick my brain, okay. But I go into every situation, even if it's something that I already know. I approach every situation like there might be somebody sitting to the right, to the left of me that might just need to hear, okay, this is what that truly means. So I don't go into a situation all the time with the anticipating to learn something. It might be just to teach something. It might be to mentor. You just never know. You absolutely never know. But no, I can't stand the resume Rondas and Ralphs because it's nothing but insecurity. Because if no one has asked you, hey, tell me about your life, and just randomly out of the blue, you're like, so in my old school, I used to, and yeah, my previous administrator. It's like, you know what? Shit the up. No one's asking you this. So why are you so quick to volunteer? It's like, so are you trying to prove to me, or are
Hmm.
you trying to prove to yourself that you're
It's a
somewhat
it's
intelligent?
a
I don't
it's a
understand.
it's an attempt at a flex. That's the only way I can come up. That's the only thing I can come up with it.
But flexing for who? I mean, I'm not impressed. I'm just one of those people where I don't name drop. I don't talk about what I do, what I have. I just don't. I absolutely don't. And it's just who I am. But it's because if I were to sit down and just say everything the good Lord has allowed me to experience in this thing called life, some will take it as a brag. Some will say, "Oh, she got to be like." So again, and but if someone asks, absolutely. But you're just volunteering at my old school. At my old school, we used to, we used to get the kids graham crackers with peanut butter. Well, damn it, we ain't got no peanut butter here. We got Nutella. We got milk. I mean, I don't
Man,
get it.
y'all got
I mean,
Nutella. Your school fancy. Y'all
I
hiring?
know. The creek's all nope. I don't know. Probably so.
Yeah, we sent y'all a couple.
Well, we'll
When
see.
we get out the air, I'll throw you a couple of names. But yeah,
Oh, good
I
grief.
I know for a fact too.
Okay. All righty. Let's get let's, all right. All right. That Newton Rock collaboration.
Not the new
Okay.
rock.
That's that new rock collaboration.
Not to be confused with the old rock.
Or the rock.
Right, right.
Kid rock,
Un-
Chris rock, Tony
Under the
rock.
rock. Okay, so look, this is one of the things I really wanted to go into because I saw this last week. I saw this story,
Hmm.
and the way the story read was that there was a 45-year-old father that who was about to be on trial for murder one
Okay.
because his son was killed back in 2020 at a traffic stop by an officer. Now, this isn't above this isn't something that we would deem far fetched, particularly
Okay.
in 2020. We're talking about the year of George Floyd.
Hmm.
So this year, he finally gets it together to get his quote unquote get back and kills the officer's daughter at prom. Now,
Okay.
the story hit, I'm just like, whoa, this is deep. I pushed it across your desk. You told me fact check that. So I pulled my paper back, went, ran it through, and come to find out that story was 100% false, people. That story was 100% false and AI generated. Now, what made me run with the story was the fact that it did indeed go viral. I saw it from more than one, and I say more than one, I'm talking about between 4 and 5 media outlets that was pushing the story out here.
Okay.
The story was 100% AI generated false, even down to the point to where the picture of the man, when put in a reverse photo lookup, was AI generated too. So I'm looking at where we are as a society right now, and particularly with this thing AI making such huge steps and coming into our lives. The power of AI to totally falsify a story and
Hmm.
include the picture of a man who was the suspect, only to be proven false.
And can we look at something else too? Not
What's that?
only was it an AI generated story with an AI generated photo, let's not sleep on the fact that this AI generated story and this image was that of a man of color.
Hmm.
Let's not let that escape us. So so if we have this software, let's just say, that is actually coming, that's now taking over. I
Hmm.
mean, you have people that, have you ever seen people just profile pictures when it's all AI based? Those images look flawless. So now we're going to a totally different level of
You know what?
catfishing.
The images look flawless until you look at the hands.
You
Now,
know, okay,
when you have that 11th hand on your one that 11th finger on one hand, that's usually my giveaway. That
okay,
hand, they never get hands right.
okay. But just the idea that this is the day and age that we're living in, where stories can be falsified, images can be falsified, things can be completely generated. That pretty much, what am I trying to say here? All these things that are generated right now, they're going forth with the purpose of, I don't want to just say catfishing, but to be deceptive. But to be deceptive. These aren't things that are being generated for something positive. I mean, because I mean, think about it. I mean, even we think about the story. Let's play around with this. Man of color
Hmm.
loses his son to a traffic stop. Now, why would a story like that be falsified when that is one of the biggest fears
In the
that
year
men
2020,
in the year 2020,
which was a
it,
hot year, mind
it was
you,
it
outside
was
of outside of George Floyd, we had a social unrest going on all over the country.
it was a lot going on in
Hmm.
2020.
Oh,
Um,
and not to mention a worldwide pandemic.
Worldwide pandemic.
I forget that part.
Yeah, worldwide pandemic. Everything completely shut down. You had people who just, we didn't really know what was going on health wise, and it just seemed like it was just another bullseye and target on men of color's back. It was just a lot. So here you take a story from 2020 where you falsify a story that a man gets his get back by taking the life of another man's child, and then kind of say eye for an eye. Well, let's look at this. One of the reasons too, when I saw it, it was triggering for me. Without getting heavily into it, uh, my family, my mother especially. Well, my mother is the only surviving one out of her siblings. She was one of nine, and she's only one left. but her oldest brother was taken. So my uncle was murdered back in the 60s, and it had everything to do with, we'll say, some things that my grandfather wasn't doing properly, we'll say. Where instead of the man feeling like he could come, now my grandfather was a very good looking man, but he was short. My granddaddy was probably like 5'3", 5'4". So the little short jeans, yeah, here you go. Right. Because my daddy was average height, but my grandfather was a little guy. If there was something that you wanted to say to him, it should have been easy to approach him. But when you had a person who was just such a coward that actually felt like, well, I'm going to go and target your son versus targeting you, reading that story was what was triggering. And to kind of
Mm,
find that it was falsified, it was like, huh? But when you think about it, 2020, you have a police officer who kills a man of color's son. And this man pretty much sets himself up to take his child from him. And for me, that's hard for me to just wrap my head around, especially in 2020. Why wouldn't that man go after that other man? So that was one of the things. But then, out of all the stories to falsify, why this? So, of course, this wasn't done by happenstance. There is something behind this. And I think while we're playing around with all these different things on social media, making our profile pictures look flawless as if people aren't going to see the real us one day,
they're gonna see
while
that
we're
11th finger on your one hand.
exactly. So so while we're doing this, we need to kind of keep our eyes open. This was a whole story that went viral. And for a moment, people were believing it. For a
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
So what does that say? But then again, we're also right now living in a day and age where a convicted felon can't cast a vote, but a convicted felon could possibly run for president.
And
So we're
possibly win.
and possibly win. But at this point, I'm not saying that I'm the biggest fan of Paul Biden, right? Because I mean, he just keeps falling. I don't really have a big issue. I'm sorry, Papa. I really don't have a big issue with what he's been doing in office. It's just like why you just be falling all of a sudden? Not like I don't remember him falling like that when he was a vice president. You just be
Oh,
standing
shoot.
there,
Oh, sleepy Joe.
and you just fall. Like
I
hey,
mean, he's gotten the whole what 12 years older since he was in there. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you, but it's like, come on now. At some point, if you know that our president's equilibrium is off, two people should be by him at all times. You
At
don't
all
just
times.
let him just fall. I mean, because he just be waving and bam, he just be I'm sorry, Papa Biden. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Listen, hey, listen, he's our president. I love him, but come on now, Secret Service, do better. Because he just be sitting over there waving and smiling. And that's it. He rolled on the ground. Just
Oh no.
stand by him. He's going to fall. but,
But
you know,
and bringing that story up, though, I really just want to get into the depth of this thing that we're calling AI, artificial intelligence,
artificial intelligence.
and its impact. Because the thing is, if someone can do this on there,
What else can they do?
what else can be done? I mean, positive or negative? Because this could have taken a very negative turn very fast.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
I hear people talk about that there are positives in AI, particularly with the profession of ours, and I'm like, we're going to be in trouble, particularly with your content. Now, I'm already battling it. I have to battle what's it called? Photo math. Now,
Mhm.
one of the things about me as a math teacher, I know good math is messy. I say that, I preach that. Good math is messy. That lets
Hmm.
me know that you are getting in there and you getting your hands dirty, you messing up. I need to see erase marks. I need to see lines getting drawn through stuff, probably a couple of cuss words on there. Good math gets ugly. So when you bring me a paper around and it's just too clean and too neat, I got questions. So
And
I've done a couple of my students like this. I'll change one number and then say, work this problem out. I don't know how to do that. You just did it right here
right,
on this very, very nice, synchronized, neat paper with no erase marks, no cuss words, no wrinkles in it. There's something wrong with this paper. So if you can tell me you can do this, I changed one number on this whole thing because I teach process. I don't teach how to get an answer. I teach process, and
right.
there is a difference. It is the why to mathematics. You know what I'm saying? Because I learned and I was taught that why is a question asked by a wise man, but it's a fool that's conquered by it. So I want you to answer this why, not just rush through some steps on how to do this, or God forbid, cheat and use photo math. But I need to know the why. So now I'm seeing where you take the AI app, put a writing prompt in it, and then voila.
But
Whole
see, that's where it goes back to being a teacher and having that relationship with that child. Where the thing is, now I'm not going to say you can catch everything, and
mm-mm,
especially as you're going into the school year, but that's why it's important that you keep certain things old school while as you're getting to know your students and they're coming in. Nothing beats a good sheet of paper and a pencil. Here you go.
mm-hmm.
Write this out for me. I'm going to give you a topic and take the time to read it so you can see how they formulate certain kind of responses, if this is a full essay, everything. Because if on paper, if this essay is poo on paper, now I automatically know that when you're bringing me one that has nothing but the King's English, all punctuation is proper, all I's are dotted, T's across somebody's line. But
Oh,
that's what.
I I did that to some students this year. They had some kind of paper to do over in the social studies class, but
Mhm.
of course, kids don't do their homework at home. They do it in first period. So they like, well, Miss Steve, can you read this for me? And I look at it and I look at who wrote this, and I'm like, read that first paragraph to me. And when there's uhs and does all over the place, but I'm reading the words emphatically, theoretically, and anything else that ends in the letters ly, I'm like, yeah, okay, you might not want to turn this in.
Exactly.
You might not. Some of them take their shot and they hit the wall.
Yeah.
Um, and then one of the things with AI, keyword is artificial, is not perfect. So my experience with AI last Wednesday, I'm in a PD, and they're telling us about their and one of the things I do not like about technology in the classroom is like they always make this threat that in 5 years your job's going to depend on this. No, hell it ain't, because I still got whiteboards, pencils, and papers, and math books. Those will
Right.
never go obsolete. You know what I'm saying? But I'll listen to you because y'all the people upstairs get excited about technology. I get it. So I want to see how smart the AI really is. I'm not going to ask it a school question though. No, 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 no. I want to see how big is your brain. So I asked the AI, what was Ice Cube's third album called? By the way, it is my personal favorite. I love Ice Cube, period. But third album
Right.
is my favorite. So I asked the AI, and so it sat for a minute. You see the little dots start jumping. I'm like, haha, got your ass. Next thing you know, that thing said November 17th, 1992, Ice Cube dropped the Predator album, his third studio album, after his release for NWA in 1989. I'm like, whoa, whoa.
So all they needed was just needed a moment. So where you thought this
And so
system
and
you
I'm
had
sitting up
tricked
there,
this system,
I'm
it
sitting
was
up there
just
like,
like
yo,
saying,
I think this hell was smart.
yeah. So so where you were ready to say, got you. AI was like, hold
I,
on.
I said, give me a minute or watch
Yeah.
this, cuz. And I'm sitting up here thinking, like, damn. Maybe this thing's smart, for real smart. Uh, ugh. Yeah. So I don't. I'm looking at it, and they're already experimenting in certain states and certain districts with 100% AI driven classrooms, to where the only thing there's a human body used for is to just moderate.
Yeah. Well, because we also got to look at too, um, something has to be. You got to put a plan in place, and unfortunately, people aren't majoring in education anymore, and 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 people who end up in education. I mean, I think I met one teacher here recently that actually was in school and their major was education.
What was
Everyone
what
else
was your major in?
English.
Oh, mine was psychology.
Yeah. So now most people who go into the educational arena is either psychology, or it might be you might have a major in history. Mine was English. You might have or arts or something like that. And then you kind of find yourself teaching, but you're not finding a lot of people who are actually coming out of school with early childhood, secondary education degrees. You're
Mhm.
not finding
Middle
that.
grade, right?
So, right, so you're not finding a lot of people who are intentional. Now, every now and then, it doesn't mean that I'm not saying that it does not happen anymore, but it's not how it used to be.
Mhm.
Where education used to be one of the greatest fields to enter into, and people are just running away from it, mainly because people just don't really want to deal with the politics. People don't want to deal with the children. Let's just be real.
Mhm.
And especially when you have parents who sometimes aren't, they don't always come across as supportive. They can come
Hmm.
that they're helicopter parents. They can very well be, no, they fear their own creation. So you just have a lot going on, unfortunately, from the home aspect that makes the academic process really hard and sometimes unbearable. But saying that, we now the educational system has to put something in place. If you're not enticing people with high salaries to come into education, if you're not enticing people at the collegiate level to go into education, if you're not doing any of that, what do we do with these children? One thing we're noticing is this generation, they are populating. They keep populating. I mean, heck, and yeah, they don't, if nothing else work, that thing do. So so they are populating. And it's one of those things where, oh, something's wrong with you if you hit 30, 40, and you don't have children. No, actually it's not. But people are populating, and now these kids have to go somewhere and they have to be educated. Because unfortunately, some of these same parents that think it's okay to go ahead and populate at 18, 19, 20, anything, aren't the most educated parents, unfortunately. So therefore, they can't stay home and educate that child. That child has to go somewhere. So now, when that child goes to school, and there's a major shortage, how do you combat this? Easy. AI generated classrooms, homeschooling, things of that nature. So, this is where we're slowly finding ourselves. Not saying that people who are in academics or in education that we fear losing jobs, not necessarily. But what happens is it's going to be a whole lot of days where you don't have to necessarily report for direct instruction. Direct instruction is going to be done from a computer, and it's going to be done with the kids at home. They're testing out something. Because I know with us, we've had so far we've had 2 days within 2 school years where it is direct instruction, and it's a full-on day, but the kids are at home and they have to go online and do all their work. So I know that's not to give a teacher a break. Oh
Mm,
my gosh, we
because
have
you know
this
what? We're in PDs those days.
exactly.
I'm
So
not
it's
just at the house in my basketball shorts with a bowl of cereal and the
No,
PlayStation warming up. No, I'm sitting in a
no.
classroom somewhere too.
We are very much in the classroom. So what does that mean? That means that now you have to see that things are getting put in place just in case we cannot come out of this hole. We can't come out of this hole that we're in. Let's just say in a perfect world, kids are in school 5 days a week, the 8+ hours a day. Yes. But we're starting to get to a place where with this teacher shortage and people not coming into the arena, they're coming into the field. They're
No, you
actually,
had it right the first time.
but people not coming into the field. Yeah, you have to find a way to combat this shortage, and that's what we're looking at right now.
Mm,
So
that's a
again,
lot.
my opinion, I don't have any, I'm not on any panels or any teams doing research data of why we're
What?
doing this,
What are you
why we're
talking
doing
about? You
that.
sitting right here on the planet period with DJ Agony.
Well, yeah.
The
But
greatest place to sit.
yeah, but in terms of, yeah, I'm not a part of anything secretive that's saying we have to do this and we need to come up with this and that. No, I mean, but we kind of know what we know, and we see what we see.
Hmm. And it goes back to the statement you made about, what I'm saying, people who don't have that much classroom experience that enter into administration, what I'm saying, at an earlier age. Like, you got to get some scars.
You,
You got
yeah,
you got to climb through some mud in this field so you can say that you know what you're talking about. Like, if I don't hit no scar, you got to have some scars, some war stories. Don't tell me about how you did 25 years at MCOM and then became a principal. Where your scars
yeah,
at? Where your classroom
exactly.
scars? Because this is where you get your scars. This is where you get your. You know what I'm saying? Like, right here in the trenches. These
Because
are
the
the
re-
trenches.
because the reality of it is, and again, there's no set time. It's just people are willing to follow your leadership. People are willing to follow a leader they believe they can learn from.
You got to be
Now,
able to sell
it
it though.
it doesn't mean that those same people won't be combative. It doesn't mean that those same people just won't be unbearable at times. But I'm sorry, you got 4 or 5 years under your belt. I'm sorry, you don't know enough. You don't know enough to
Say,
lead.
say not
No,
enough scars, huh?
no, you don't know enough. Because if I come to you, if I come to you and if I say I need to completely restructure my classroom in this way, if I come to you and I say, hey, I have a student who just walked into my classroom who doesn't speak a lick of English. I need to be able to come to you to get something. If the first thing you do is, oh, go see an instructional coach. No, I came to see you. So I need to be able to go to my leader to vent. I need to be able to go to my leader for strategies. I need to be able to go to my leader just for different things that I can utilize in the classroom that's going to make my classroom more feasible and more conducive for learning. But if all I ever get from you is, oh, go see Miss So and so or Mr. So and so, that means you don't have the answer. You should not be in that position.
You don't have the answer, Sway. So we got a question in the crowd. As an educator, did you find those days of virtual learning beneficial? If I had to answer that, no. Um, because a lot of that work that got put on Canvas, it may or may not have gotten done, and I may or may not have checked it. It was all a formality. It's like doing a dance. We got to make it look good. We have to make it look as if this day was instructional on both ends.
Well,
So,
I well
was it is it beneficial? My honest answer, hell no.
well, I'll say this. It could be. Was it? No. But it could be. If there see what makes it beneficial, if a child is at home and if I say that, okay, I want you to finalize working on your informational essay, keep in mind that for if you have within your introduction, if you have two bullet points or two pieces of background information, then you need two body paragraphs because each background information deserves its own paragraph. If you don't have a mom or dad at home that completely understand how to help you navigate this lesson, then guess what? I'm putting busy work. I'm putting busy work on canvas for you to do that I may or may not grade. I'm not giving you a core lesson because there's a good chance that while I'm in a meeting, while I'm in a PD, my email's being blown up because that young person's reaching out to me because they don't understand how to go ahead and construct this particular essay without my help. And mom and dad just can't, mom and dad are just incapable of doing it. Doesn't mean that we believe that all of our parents are uneducated. Far from it. Some parents, maybe their background is maybe they're educated, but their knowledge is limited when it comes to how to properly structure an essay. That's okay
Mhm.
because maybe your degree was in nursing or something like that. So
Mm,
maybe uh you might not have that go-to knowledge of how to properly
mhm.
structure this,
When
this,
when that
this, or
when
that.
that pre-cal come across your desk.
Right. So the thing is, unfortunately, we're putting stuff online that is not necessarily BS, but what we're putting online is something that we believe that they can do with little to no help.
To no hand holding, right?
Right. So is it beneficial? It can be. But currently, right now, because of just where we are, it really isn't. But it can be.
Dig, dig. So one of my last points for the night is, and we were talking about the workforce, talking about the good old workforce, and how she said I could absolutely understand that. I've been in that position before. Yeah, I mean it's real because I told my son once he got to Cal 1, I could get him as far through that as possible. But that was in 11th grade. 12th grade, he was completely on his own. Completely. I can't do nothing for you. You gotta listen to school, raise your hand, and take good notes because you get home, it's a lost cause here, G. But it worked out. He graduated. Yay, son.
Go, kid.
So going into like looking at the workforce, and particularly with college grads coming into different fields or whatever, I've heard this before that I heard this on a high school level that the kids high school age that I remember when I was 14, I lied so I can work because I wanted a pair of Jordans.
Okay.
And it wasn't that hard. I went and got a job at Toys R Us and got my Jordans that summer. But you know, we're in a generation now to where working is they would work harder finding ways around working hard.
Mhm.
It happens. And
Mhm.
then once they get into these jobs, God forbid, it's the know-how that it's the simple things that conquer them. Like I'll give you a good example. This might have been about around spring break. I go to a wing stop. I could tell the girl behind the counter was in high school ish, and I think my total came up to like 40 something dollars, and I gave her 60. I don't know what this child put in, but she tried to give me $80 in change back. It was 70 something. It was like $77 in change she was trying to give me back. I didn't even give you that much money. Whoa, whoa, and whoa. You owe me $17 in change. She's trying to give me $77 in change. I can't make this stuff up. This actually happened.
Okay.
And so, but that's what's in our workforce right now. Um, and so it's one of those things to where even at the collegiate level, employers are saying they're having a hard time employing.
Mhm.
Here's why. So according to this list that came out the other day, and this one actually was on the news. This was AI generated, y'all. I saw this one. It got a little thing at the bottom and everything, tell where it came from. So they saying that they're having difficulties with hiring new college grads into the job market, and they even gave statistics on it. So it
Okay.
was so the highest thing, and matter of fact, I'll go from bottom to top. Was that? 19% of the graduates or the interviewees were bringing their parents to the interview.
Hold on. What? Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What? Okay, continue, sir.
It's the laugh though. You looked around. You look around like who? What?
I mean, because I guess I instantly, God rest his soul, I instantly thought about my daddy in an interview with me. Like, no. Or my mom at an interview asking questions that no one has asked, because that's what my mother does. She'll ask questions and, she'll say, "Oh my gosh, so this is a podcast. So, I wonder if that's where Gain and Tide got their name from. Their pods, and this is a pod. Mom, what are you talking about?" But that's my
God,
that's my mommy. But what?
big shouts out to Mama Parker.
That's my
Gain,
mommy.
gain and tide. I love it.
My
I
mom
love
be
it.
asking, my mom be asking questions, and I'm like, huh?
I love it. Gain and
and I,
tide. God damn it.
and I'll say, Mama, that doesn't have anything to do with that. She'll say, oh, okay. she, my mother has always pushed us to always be open for knowledge. So that's one thing I'll say. That's one thing I'll give her. She does not believe that now she's very educated, first in her family to be college educated, all that good stuff.
Okay.
And definitely set the bar for her children to go. We have no choice before like we die. We have to exceed her academically. That's just
Okay.
because that's just her standard.
Got
However, my mother would definitely ask those. My mother, I say, um, my mother's very educated. She was very book book savvy. My father was very strong type of thing. I'll say that. I don't want to say what he would reference himself as, but my father was
but
definitely
it wasn't the
he was
RN, was it?
he was very much an RA, very much an RA, and
There you go.
he very much was. Took pride in it. I mean, he was the first one I ever heard to say, "You ever see me?" I mean, he had a saying that was he would help the bear. So if
Better help the
some
bow. I used to hear my mama
yeah,
say that growing up.
yeah. So if there was somebody who was running their mouth a little bit too much, and my dad, I helped the bear, which pretty much meant that he wasn't one you want to fool with. Because if you ever saw him in the bear fight, you better help
Help
that
the bow.
damn bear.
He gonna need it.
That was my dad. But see, my dad was very, very street savvy. Very street savvy. Where my mom, you know, so but I can imagine, but now my dad was very intelligent too. He graduated high school at 16.
Okay.
So having both levels of intelligence and on both ends of the spectrum where you have the street smarts and the book smart and both of them alpha male, alpha female. And yeah, going to a job? No, no, no.
Hey, so I'm gonna go back into the list for a second, but we got a question from Phyllis. Said, "What happened to the days when career services at the school help prepare students for things like interviews? Is that still a thing?" It actually very much is still a thing.
But the problem is, Phyllis, and I'll say this. That's a very good question, but the problem is everything now is falling on the school. Everything now is falling on the school to prepare the young person for success. What
But
are
I feel like it should though because they spend the most time with us.
they do? But at some point, what the heck are mom and dad doing? I mean, even
Making
to the
more
point.
siblings for us to teach.
I mean, yeah. What are they doing? Because you know who. Okay, before my business teacher, Mr. Norris. My Mr. Norris used to take us through all types of things. what to wear, what not to wear. Even we had certain classes in high school where it even told you, okay, ladies, this is where you apply your perfume when you're interviewing, just so that if you have someone, the interviewer may have allergies, or you just don't want the overkill. So they even taught us the pressure points of where to apply your perfume. The fact that your hair needs to be pulled back so that people can actually see your face. What type, I mean, everything from nail color to all that. Yes, they went through that. But guess what that was? That was just a reinforcement of what Myrtle Parker was teaching us. I never learned that first at school. I never learned that. I
Interesting.
learned how to wear my hair, what to do, how to speak, how to sit, how to, what to say, what not to say. I got that from growing up in the Parker household. That's where I got that from. My teachers may have just fine tuned it and they may have reinforced it, but that was not the first time that I actually got that particular lesson. The problem is nowadays it's almost like the parents are off the hook. You are raising these children. These kids are now at a place because what mother and father in their right frame of mind would actually say, I'm going to take my child. It's one thing to drive your child to a job interview and you sit in the car and read a book. That's one thing. But you're actually going into the facility with your child, and we know how some of these parents dress. Are you there in the body? I mean, like, what's going on? Like I have
Oh
questions.
man, and some Nike
I
slides
have questions
and
now.
pajama pants.
Yeah, questions. Because my thing is, when did we get here? When did we get to a place where young people are not taught to be self-sufficient? When do we get to? But then again, let's back up. Let's look and see what
Oh
we
man,
have going on.
you about to answer
Because,
that question too? Because we talk about college graduates now. 4 years ago, what year was it? 2020.
right. But okay, let's look at a few things within the 4 years that most of our young people age wise kind of leave out of high school 18 years old. Okay. So between 18 and you got 19, 20, 21, 22. So age 22. At age 22, let's look at what it seems like our average young person, our young people are doing. So at age 22, you have more young people now that parents are celebrating baby showers than they are college graduations. That's number one. Number
Uh oh.
two, hold on, exactly. So, but you know what? We can go ahead and get off of that because somebody gonna be offensive. But guess what? Let's just call a spade here. But we don't have these young people aren't coming out of high school with any kind of with anything just pushing them or driving them to, okay, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do within the next couple of years. So this is the very thing that I need to be able to do. Because what's one of the first things parents allow their child to do? First thing you do, you graduate high school, you get a tattoo. Now continue on where that doggone tattoo is. Is this a tattoo that's going to get you turned away from the job market or what? Or the first thing you want to do is you want to put a hole in something, whether it's your nose, whether it's your eyebrow, whether it's your tongue, whether it's something. And yes, you have a right to self express. You have a right to express who you are. But are we really preparing our children for success? They got 4 years. They got 4 years post secondary education, hopefully, maybe 5 years if they're getting maybe like a double major. But what is going on with parents who are now saying, oh, yeah, my child getting a third tattoo and I ain't happy about it? Well, if you ain't happy about it, why are they getting it done? Oh, because they 18, 19. What the hell does that mean? Are you still not the parent? See, that's the problem that I have with a lot of parents nowadays. You believe this crap stops at 18? That's when it kicks in.
Yeah,
That's
that's
when it kicks in.
it
Anything,
gets it gets deep at that point.
anything under 18 is easy, my guy. That is easy. Anything under 18 is easy. I'm sorry. Once you hit 18 and them little boogers believe that they could call 1-800 but without your permission, and they believe that they at the same level as you, this is where the parenting kicks in. You know what it takes in order for them to be successful. Why is it that these kids have spent your time and your money getting an education and they can't interview for jobs? They don't look the part. They can't speak. Their handshakes feel like clams. I mean, what is going on here? What is going on here? When are you going to stop and say, okay, enough? Don't tattoo nothing else. Don't pierce nothing else. Keep that hair a solid color. You need to get into a field because guess what? I'm taking care of your butt for the rest of my life. Now, I'll have some things that you can tap into as you get older, maybe an inheritance, maybe a part of my business here or there, blah, 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 blah. But I need you to get to this level first.
And that's one of the things that going back to when you said it started at home. My dad taught me about the job line early. The job line, because he didn't mind me getting tattoos. And mind you, I didn't get my first tattoo till I was about 22. But he told me about the job line, pretty much from the elbow down. Don't get anything, because it's like even now with a shirt
Yeah,
with sleeves on it, you really can't see my tattoos. Like I'd have to actually physically show them. You know what I'm saying? But I get nothing below the job line.
nothing. And
Nothing
not only
goes there.
that,
But I got homies who got all kind of crazy stuff from here down, and it's like now you in the job interview sweating because you got to wear sleeves down to your fingertips because you don't got everything tattooed. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. And again, it's not saying that okay, well, you have if you have these tattoos that you can't, or you can get in the door, but you'll plateau quicker. I mean,
A lot.
you'll plateau a lot faster than someone clean cut, clean face, clean whatever. I don't care what anyone says. You can have all this stuff going on, and you can very well make it to a decent position. But number one of anything never happened. That'll never happen. And unfortunately, this is what we're grooming. We are allowing various entities to influence our children. Because I'm sorry, you've spent a lot of my money to go to college. You're going to college on my back. I need you to be able to interview and get a job, not so that you could pay me back. That was my contribution to your life. You owe
Hmm.
me nothing but to be able to become self sufficient. Now, how can you be self sufficient if I'm going to a freaking interview with you? That's like what Step Brothers. That's what I'm thinking about. Remember when them fools on Step Brothers went to the interview
They went
together?
to the interview together. Yeah.
They went to interview together with tuxedos on. Talking about here. So, hey, we're here to F shit up. So,
Right.
really? Really? So, this is what mom and dad are doing now? No.
Definitely. So on back to the list though. So um you have 21% that in virtual interviews refuse to turn their cameras on.
Because they're in bonnets. They're in bonnets. They're in shorts. That's what's happening. They're in bonnets. They're in shorts.
But the thing is,
They're
look, I mean, even in shorts, like right now, I'm in shorts. Nobody knew that.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Here's one, and this one I can definitely see this, but 27% have been labeled with poor language skills.
Because everything's
And
bruh, bruh.
and I think the big reason for that is that they don't talk.
No,
Everything's in text language. Everything
every
is typed and shortened to the point to where to talk and have a conversation is it's almost like I don't even know what you call that.
well, have you had a conversation with some of these parents? I mean, or better yet, just have a conversation, period. The average person, when they speak, is like, okay, you said five things there just absolutely positively are nowhere in the dictionary. Did you just make that up? So you're absolutely right. We have gotten to a place where smart technology has turned us stupid.
Has turned them
We
stupid.
we don't even
There it is.
have we don't even have the communication skills anymore to just sit down and have a conversation, or even have a conversation, have a dispute. We don't. The first thing we see having a conversation, the first thing we want to do is just shy away from it. Oh, it's too much. It make me think. But the reality of it is, that's unfortunately it's hindering our young people. Everything is this way.
Hmm.
Everything is text message. And there are certain things where I tell people, don't put certain things in the text for me. I'm old school. And call me. I need to hear your voice, because that text message, if it didn't have the right punctuation, or if maybe my sensitive level was heightened for whatever reason, because maybe I'm just having a day, maybe things are just kind of off from me. So your text message may come across as either dismissive, heartless, or something, and that might not be your intent. Pick up the
Mm,
phone and call me.
mm.
I need to hear your voice.
And,
I need to feel your energy. So
and,
from there,
mhm.
yeah, but again, we need to continue building upon those communication skills that we are so lacking in 2024.
In the law of communication, only 7% of communication is the words. Only 7%, which means 93% is left off, which means you leave 93% of whatever said message was up to the interpretation of the next person.
Absolutely.
93% at this point, you might as well not even say nothing, because the thing is, if I have to understand only 7% of what you're saying, it's not even a tenth. It's barely 5%. Like, I mean, that's a lot that's left off of that.
It's a lot.
That's a lot that's left off of that. And so, what I'm saying, that's where, I mean, and so I could agree with this right here. Texting leaves too much room for misconceptions. Absolutely, because without the verbal and also nonverbal cues, you don't have context of what those words actually mean. All you have is
Absolutely.
all you have is words, and after a while, misunderstanding. So going into it, 47% dressed inappropriately. Bonnets for everybody.
Well, here's the thing. When you're going into a job interview, and people always say, well, dress for the job that you want, and not necessarily, what is it, dress for the job that you want. Well, that used to be a thing. When you dress for the job that you want, not necessarily the job that you're going to get. I'm not, so I think I'm paraphrasing.
Gotcha.
But the problem is, okay, Steve Harvey did something. And I believe it was maybe during a commercial break where he was, of course, filming Family Feud. And he broke down how five suits five suits
Hmm.
and three shirts
Three
will
shirts.
give you about 75 looks.
Yeah, all the
And the
different combinations with
and the color,
the jacket, the shirt, and the pants. But
right, and the
mhm,
colors that he gave you, he said each of those jackets will match each of those all those pants as well as the shirts. So out of three shirts and five suits, you have 75 looks. Now, why is it that we have to wait until a Steve Harvey or someone who has that platform break things down for our young men in order to dress for success? But now here's the thing. We have a lot of our men who have stepped up, and they're saying they're image consultants, the late Kevin Samuels, before he really kind of got into the place where his show was so controversial. Before it got to that place, he was an image consultant. So you have men that are stepping up, and they're saying, hey guys, this is what you wear, this is what you should do, what you shouldn't do. If you have long hair, pull it back. If not, get your hair cut, do this, do that. You have men breaking it down. You're not finding a lot of women who are using their platform, unfortunately, who are doing those things. Because I am willing to say, Out of that percentage, give me that percentage again of how
40
many young
uh
people.
dressed inappropriately, 47.
Uh-huh. 47. So I'm willing to say 47% dress inappropriately. I'm gonna go ahead and gamble right here and I'm gonna piss some people off, but guess what? I don't care. That's what I do. 42% of those people who were inappropriately dressed were women.
42 out of that 47.
40, 42 out of 7.
Mm,
42. Let's look at the things that guys, let's look at the rules that guys break. Pull your pants up. Pants
true.
shouldn't be that tight.
Mm-hmm.
Put on a shirt. That is it. With our young women,
Wear a tie.
wear a tie. But with our young women, the hair color is not natural. Too much cleavage. Too much cleavage. Something is too tight. Something is too short. Something is too revealing. You have the wrong pair of shoes. Why do your nails have FUCK? All just all types of stuff. So let's be real. When it comes to dress code, the majority of the offenders who break dress code look like me. They are women. And I hate to say it, but the reality of it is not enough of us are stepping up as women who are grabbing our young women saying, too short, too tight, too this, too that. Because what happens now is when you have those conversations, then now contingent on how that young person is raised, how that young where that what kind of household that young lady comes from. Now you may have, oh, they just hating or they body shaming. No, baby, it ain't. Listen, it ain't nothing to hate on, nothing to body shame about. The reality of it is we're trying to get you from point A to Z. Forget B.
Mhm.
Because we need you to go from A to B, B to C, C to D. We need you to keep going on, and then we need you by the time you get to Z and you have this perfected, we need you to pay it forward. That's what kind of keeps that cycle going. But unfortunately, but unfortunately, we're not sitting down and we're not sitting down and saying, this is how you need to look when you are going for any position. The only position that our young ladies, the way they're dressed, the way they dress now, the only position that they can honestly get right now, the way they dress, are positions we don't want them to take. And that's some of them clubs that involve them dancing on stuff.
Yeah, some of them clubs that DJ Agony may or may not have DJ'd in.
Well, guess what? We're not even gonna put all that out there because they ain't none nobody's business. But
May or
what,
may
what,
not have. No way to
but
know
what
for sure.
But what we're going to say is we're not, yeah, our young ladies right now aren't dressing for success. Out of 47% of young people who are not dressing appropriately, 42 of those offenses, I'm sorry, are women. I'm sorry.
Man, no arguments here. So back to the list though. 50% asked for unreasonable compensation. Now, one thing I will say this is that we do live in an entitled generation. Like I said, they'll work harder trying to figure out how not to work hard.
Absolutely. Oh,
Oh,
I need to sneak away for a second because my computer is flashing. I need a charger. So keep talking, sir.
but yeah, so right now we're in a very entitled generation to where, I mean, like I said, they work hard at not working hard, and they feel like they should be compensated for that. I mean, I've heard it a lot this school year, Miss Steve. You should give me an A just for trying. I'm sorry, I didn't grow up in the participation medal age. You had to do something to get a medal. You know what I'm saying? And nobody wanted that little ugly ass participation ribbon. Nobody wanted that. I can't tell you how many of those I don't have right now. You got medals for winning. But now that we're in a participation medal age to where you just get it just for showing up and participating. I mean, even with coaching, if your kid sucks, he will be on the bench. It happens. It happens. You know what you do in that situation? Get better. Get better than my worst, and maybe you'll see the field. Exactly. They want something for nothing. That's entitlement right there. They definitely want that entitlement. They definitely come for the instant gratification. I've even nicknamed this generation the microwave generation. Now, am I all for working like hell for the next 35 years just so that I can stop working? Absolutely not. But I do know that I got to put in some work to have me a life after work. I got to put in some work too.
Absolutely.
And so with that, I'm not surprised at it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not surprised at all that, what I'm saying, they want this unreasonable, they was labeled unreasonable compensation. Unreasonable compensation. And that's 50% of them. But I totally believe it. I
You
heard
see,
that. I heard that instead of giving a test final exam, I gave a project. Some of those projects were crap. Some of them were bad. Man, you should just give me an A just for turning something in. No, hell, I shouldn't. This sucks.
yeah. But again, but like you said, you're dealing with you're dealing with an entitled group of young people that come from parents who have made them that way. Because I'm with you. I am not that person. If you came in second place, guess what that means? You didn't win. I'm not getting ready to
You're
do
not
that now.
first, you're last. Another Will Ferrell reference.
Exactly.
We two for
So
two
now
on Will Ferrell tonight. Actually, three for three.
right. So I have no problem with celebrating a great season, but let's be real. Second place is a highly decorated loser. That's all that is. So I'm sorry. I'm I'm not getting ready to give you a trophy because what, you suck less than the other team that came in third, fourth. No, no.
Mm-mm.
Because okay, for example, everyone will remember who wins the Super Bowl. Do you remember? Unless it was, no disrespect to anyone, unless it was the Atlanta Falcons and how they lost that league. But do you really remember the loser? Not really.
28-3.
They gave Brady this many. He had this many minutes and he came back. this many, this many. But but seriously, you don't remember the loser. You'll say, "Oh, that's why they did play so and so. Oh, but they did play so and so." That's typically what happens. So there is nothing wrong with coming in second, but understand something. I'm not getting ready to celebrate the fact that you are just a highly decorated loser. The problem is the goal is to always hit one. If you can't do anything but hit two, then you just have to be okay being a highly decorated loser.
The best number two
But
possible.
we're not getting ready to give participation things, or no, I'm not getting ready to give you grades for effort. No.
Mm-mm.
Now, it depends on the circumstance. You have a young person who you have a young person who gives you great work all the time, and then one particular assignment they didn't give you their best, but then you find out that while they were doing this particular assignment, uh their parent they actually had a parent that was fighting for their life and ended up passing away, and then that child's academics kind of just dwindled just a bit. Yes, you grade on the curve that way
Yeah.
because that
I mean,
child,
those are outlying circumstances that,
absolutely,
would have, if they wouldn't have happened, this wouldn't have happened.
absolutely,
And that goes into the relationship piece. Knowing your kids, knowing your audience, knowing
it
that,
goes to
okay, you ain't did nothing since July and now it's April, and now you up here begging for a passing grade. Nah, 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 nah. Not
I
gonna
had
happen,
a
cuz.
young person I had a young person to come to me. She um she had some things going on. She had some things going on, and her mom was very disconnected to some things that her children were dealing with. Mom had to be at work before the school bus came. So mom let us know that she was completely oblivious to the fact that her child was not getting on the school bus. Now, I don't understand that in this day and age of cell phones, the ring cameras, all of that. I don't understand. But I'll say that even when we finally got a hold of this mother, and the mother was just apologetic. I didn't know my child wasn't coming here. And we're saying, well, mom, we've reached out to you for a minute. We called numbers that uh, we got no phone calls. We sent email. We did everything that we could. So then our thing is okay, at this point is on your child. We can give them the opportunity to try to play catch up, but let's just be real. It's not looking good. So our biggest thing was the child has to advocate for themselves because they were the ones that while you were at work made a decision. I'm not getting on that bus for whatever reason, whether it was something uh, mental or emotional, not combating any of that. But they made a decision that they were not going to get on that bus. That child came to me the day before school was to be let out. I'm literally at my desk and I'm literally I'm putting report cards where they need to be so that we can get them filed. And this child comes to me and she's standing behind me and I'm like, hey, what's going on? Just wanted to see if you can give me any extra credit. Keep in mind, grades were already done.
Great books closed.
Grade books are closed. You
Mm.
are asking me the day before because unfortunately, now you have no choice but to try to do something in summer school. And you don't want to go to summer school, but you made a decision not to get on that bus for whatever reason. And mom didn't hold you accountable. That child stood behind me. And I promise you, in the back of my mind, I said, this child is so lucky right now that I'm a lady and that I don't believe in farting in front of children. Because if I had gas right now, I would light her up because she is standing behind me and she is in the perfect direction to go ahead and catch this poop. She honestly, I looked at her and I said, "Are you?" I said, "You're playing, right?" No, ma'am. I said, "Sweetheart, my grade books are closed, so you can't give me anything." I said, "It was called your assignments. You made a decision."
I gave you 180 days.
I said, sweetheart, I said, let me do something that maybe mom had said to you that she was going to start doing. Let me be the first adult. This was a place called accountability. You made a decision. You didn't make a mistake. You made a decision not to get on that bus. Here is the first point of your accountability. You're going to make up this class and the other classes that you have failed in this thing called summer school. I wish you the best. I wish you nothing but love and light. But you are going to make this up by you giving up a summer since you gave up your bus seat, trying to I don't know if you trying to channel your inner Rosa, but Rosa was on the bus, but you gave up. I'm not sure, but you literally
You didn't give up
did
a seat.
not
You
get
gave up the
on.
whole bus.
You did not get on that bus. So guess what you have to do? It's going to cost you your summer. Welcome
And
to a world
and
called
what is it?
accountability.
100, ain't it summer school $150?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome to a place called accountability.
Yeah, you have to go in your account.
Yeah.
Hope you got the ability.
So no, I can't. In the words of Flavor Flav, I
I
can't
can't
do
do
nothing
nothing
for you,
for you,
man.
man.
I can't do nothing for you, man. No, no. Accountability. Here where this is where we are.
This is it. This is it. Okay, so the last part of the list, the highest ranked percentage, reason why it's difficult with new college grads in the job market, 53% of employers complained about eye contact.
Something as simple as looking a person in the eye and understanding the power of your eyes. Well, first of all, our young men, if there are no fathers in place, and for whatever reason, sometimes our mothers don't always want to teach this to our sons, but if there are no men in place that teach you the power of a firm handshake and eye contact, even how long you hold that shake, even the fact that you allow that person to pull their hand back and they have a seat first and then give you permission to sit down. Those small things. If that's not being taught, then you don't understand how much you leave on the table by not having proper eye contact.
I'm gonna be honest.
It,
All that stuff you named, I got it, and I got it from my dad. But my dad was a few generations back. I think a lot of that got lost in translation.
because unfortunately, you know what happened? You know what got lost in translation? Two parent
Dad.
households, two parent households that got lost in translation. Or, and even again, no one is saying that just because two people aren't married that they couldn't raise their children. But no, the problem is you've had a lot of fathers step away because maybe dealing with the mother was too cumbersome or something. I'm not sure. I don't even, that's totally different subject. But
Mm,
yeah, something as simple as yeah, where you grab that man's hand, the perfect ratio of eye and smile, just all those different things that were taught by old school men. Well, our new school women, here's the biggest issue. If now I'll tell anyone I don't have one right now, but I am a avid lash wearer, but I like my lashes to look natural. But it's hard to make eye contact when you got caterpillars going across your eyeballs. So if your lash is like this, that's why our girls can't make eye contact because you can't see it. It's like, yeah, so I'm here for the job interview, and
the
you're
fuck?
like, dude,
So they
yeah,
got the fat eyelashes, bonnets on, tight pants. God dang it! And this is the reason why our workforce looks like it do. That's the
yeah.
reason why. That is why.
And see, here's the thing. See, the problem is you find a lot of ladies, they used to hate when the late Kevin Samuel used to get on his soapbox. And don't get me wrong, after a while now, if you see some clips of his original show, his show was phenomenal. And I guess maybe for higher ratings, he decided, let's go ahead and grab some women who sound kind of stupid and embarrass them. That was the Kevin Samuels that I checked out. I didn't like that. But
I watched it all.
you know what, that part was more of a like, okay, what are you really doing? Because he had an excellent show. I mean, that for me, you could tell that his own bias. Well, of course, it was his show, but I never even understood the whole Beyonce, Kelly Rowland, Rihanna thing for him. But that's just who he found, flawless or beautiful. That's fine. But the problem is, as an image consultant, you know, a lot of women were finding it hard to take cues from him because he was very matter of fact. He didn't sugarcoat anything. But the reality of it is, we don't have enough women who use their platform to say, hey, lighten that lash, cut those nails down.
I
This
mean,
is
but
what
even
this
outside
is
of
what
having a platform, how often do women congratulate each other?
that's a totally different show.
Then I'm gonna leave well enough alone. Then we gonna
Yeah,
slide up out of that one.
that's a totally different show.
We gonna
Um,
slide up out of that one, man. But yo, I appreciate you coming through this week. It's been a while since we did this, and I think the funny thing enough, we actually were here 1 year ago, June 6th. Today, I actually posted the memory earlier that yeah, there was a there was a planning period literally 365 days ago to the day.
well, unfortunately, people, oh, why don't you all do it more often? Well, yeah, maybe, sure, but you gotta understand, teachers, teachers definitely. We're always in school. We're always working. We always have a few things that we're dealing with.
Right.
So maybe we do this a couple more times this summer just to kind of get ready for a fantastic 2024
Yeah.
2025 school year.
I'll try to
But
be on here more often than not because, like I said, I made a promise to my late brother that I would definitely, at least out of a whole week, give an hour to something I love doing.
absolutely.
And out of a week, 1 hour, it doesn't seem unreasonable, even though I might not feel like doing it at that moment. It's just something that we love doing. And the fact that now he isn't here to share the screen with me anymore, like now I have to give that hour. Like
Absolutely.
I definitely have to
Absolutely.
give that hour. So, I'm working on that, at least just giving an hour out of the week. But yeah, so big shouts out to everybody that came through. I seen the numbers jumping. It was a lot of lurkers in the building because we had
Okay.
we had one person commenting, but I've been seeing those numbers jump all night. So hey, y'all come through here, man. Don't be shy. Talk to us. We talk back. Um, and make sure y'all while y'all watching, the likes and the comments are cool, but I'm here for the shares. Share this to your peoples, share this to other people. Just send it to somebody you think need to hear it. Maybe it's somebody that just, I don't know, maybe they ain't got no ears or something, but send it to them anyway. But Miss Parker, tell these folks if you want to be found, how they can find you.
Well, that's the thing. Do I want to be found? Oh, okay. Well, you can find me always on here during the planning period because I am the other half of the planning period. You can find me here. You can find me via Facebook and even Instagram right now. I'm actually looking to kind of just revamp my Instagram a bit. I got some cool things going on business wise. So I'll be ready to kind of, speak on that. But yeah, you can always find me here at the planning period. When that guy says, hey, let's do this, I'm usually a phone call away. And here we go.
Right, right, right. Appreciate you, Phyllis, for coming out. It's very informative. I enjoyed it. Thank you for this. I mean,
Thank you, Miss Phyllis.
it is what we do. It is what we do. Follow me on YouTube at what is it, Team OTB? I think that was Team OTB. I gotta remember. Yeah, YouTube is Team OTB. Facebook is Team On the Building. That is where you can keep up with everything that is going on with this thing right here. Plus my other shows, like I said, ISS Crew, the Planning Period, and just anything else I could come up with. Quick 30s, whatever. You can find those all in one of about two places, either Team OTB on YouTube or Team On the Building on Facebook. Thank everybody for coming out. Thank you everybody for the years. I can say years of continuous support because now we are in year three, people, and so I don't think it's gonna do is just keep growing. As long as y'all help grow it, I'll do my part as well. I end this show like I end all my shows. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery that mediocrity can pay to greatness. I am DJ Agony. That is Miss Parker. This is the planning period, and we out. Peace.
Have a good one.